screen printed or embroidered? How about some slick graphics on that hot ride to make you stand out from the crowd? Accelerated Graphics and Signs can handle anything you throw at them. Located at 101 East Renfro Street, Suite C in Burleson, Texas, go in and see them. Call them at 817-991-0523 or reach them on the web at www.acceleratedgraphics.net. They're loud and proud and want to serve you. Accelerated Graphics.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. Call right now. 800-597-9323.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Good morning, Johnson County. You're listening to JoCo Vibes here on JoCo Community Radio. I'm Tiffany Carlin with Nona Reed. Good morning, Nona.
Good morning.
And we have some amazing guests that are joining us here at the table today who are running for some offices here in Johnson County. And I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves and what they're running for. If you'll do that really quick for me.
Hi, my name is Kayla Lain, and I am from Godley, Texas. I am running for Godley Independent School District Board of Trustee, and I've lived in Godley for almost 4 years. I have a daughter in 2nd grade and a son in 3rd grade, and I'm just really committed to making sure that our children have the best educational experience possible.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Vaughn C. Stevens. I've lived in Joshua, Texas, in the Godley School District. I've got a granddaughter in fourth grade. Um, I'm also there I'm running for Godley Independent School District Board of Trustees. And I'm there to see if we can invoke some change within the school district also.
Excellent. Okay, so I have a question just right off the bat, because the way your school board works, Godly School Board works, is different than how Burleson works. So where we have people who run for specific seats when an incumbent is up for reelection, yours doesn't quite work the same way.
Right.
So explain to everybody how yours works. I'm going to bring that to you so you don't have to.
So
stretch
ours is just a popular vote. So the top vote getters get the 2 seats.
Okay. And so that's whether there's an open seat, or like if an incumbent just decides that they don't want to rerun and the seat's open, or an incumbent is up for reelection and is still running, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Right.
In this
Okay.
case, we've got 2 seats that are available for reelection. So we have 2 incumbents that are rerunning, and we have 3
candidates.
3 new candidates
Okay.
that are also running. So we have a total of 5 people running for 2 seats.
So that's what I want to make sure everybody understands it, because I want to make sure I understood it. So it's going to be the best 2 out of all 5 of you
Correct.
who gets the seat. So technically you're running against each other somewhat,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I wanted to make sure I understood that, because I've never known a school district that does it this way.
I believe that's because we're a home rule.
Okay. What is that?
city.
Yeah.
So it's
Explain
just-
to people what that means.
Yeah, so I'm actually new to that term myself, but I know I've been recently getting involved with city council. Home rule is kind of just like a rural jurisdiction, and they just have some different rules for their school board and city council.
Okay. And so let's talk about, well, first of all, we usually start out, we had a guest, we had a guest yesterday, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. So we do start something out. I want to make sure we don't miss out on our word of the week here on JoCo Vibes. So I'm going to just give this to everybody really quick, and then we
did miss out on that.
We did. So we're going to come back, and then we'll come back to you guys here in just a second.
We had the whole hour with y'all. Usually
Yeah.
it's 30 minutes. So
Yeah,
but it's
'cause you're here
y'all are
together.
together.
If you only want to be here 30, you can leave. It's like, all right, I've had enough. We're going to go now. Okay, we're going to go. The word of the week is timing. Do not overlook this one fact, beloved, that with the Lord one day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. I got to read that again, because I lost myself on that one. Do not overlook this one fact, beloved, that with the Lord one day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. 2 Peter 3:8. So the focus tip of the week for the word of the week, which again is timing. This week, as you start to ramp up and go, remember timing, and then take a deep breath and ask God to help you go at His tempo. Just a good friendly reminder. So timing is your word of the week. So, and then everything is timing. And here it is. It seems to be your time. You guys want to run for, school board. Let's talk about, okay. So I have a question, because, so you live in a part of Joshua that is in the Godley School District. How does that work?
Joshua and Godley, where I live at, is so close together. I'm in, even where I live, I'm on the border of Johnson and Tarrant, and where they built us, we were right on the border of Joshua and Godley. We're actually on the north end of Joshua.
Okay.
So where we're at, Godley is actually closer to us than Joshua is.
Okay.
So we fell into the Godley School District.
Let's see. And I didn't even know that. I didn't know that there was a part of Joshua that went to
There's
Godley.
even some parts of Crescent that go
You
to
get
Godley.
Crescent.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I kind of could see that. I didn't ever thought of Joshua, part of Joshua.
No, I had no idea.
That's kind of what we were talking about as far as, Burleson City Council choosing to go ahead and say yes to this new build, that's Joshua School District. It's kind of stinks.
Which new build? What are you talking about?
The one that Bear Creek.
Oh, Bear Creek. Yeah.
That's Joshua's school district, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Is all of it Joshua School District right there?
I think it is.
I think it is. Yeah.
I think it is.
But nobody
So-
from Joshua came and spoke about
'Cause they
that.
And that's some of the problems
Yeah.
that we're having in all the
Yeah.
school districts. There's cities that are being incorporated into other school districts, and they're not getting a say so on what's
Right.
happening.
Right.
And I was seeing that in the area where I lived at. Even when the votes were coming up, they had no idea of what was going on. The city of Godley had an idea
Right.
what was going on, but as you moved out to the areas where I was at in Joshua, when you asked them what the bonds were going on, what the votes were going, they had no idea. So we're trying to get the word out to them.
There's a difference. You have to pay attention to what's going on.
Exactly.
I mean, where your school district line is and where you align to go to school. What's happening in the town that's there, and so some of that I think is lack of communication, lack of transparency. The city should be talking with, and so should Bear Creek. So should the developer should be coming and talking to Joshua ISD, and they should be talking with the residents of Joshua. And that's a really good point, and that's a really messed up
Well,
thing.
they're talking to ISD. The problem is the ISDs aren't talking to the people.
Right.
Right. So that's a really good thing. That brings up a whole nother conversation about the Joshua school bond. So
Well, the Joshua and the Godley IC. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest problems that I'm seeing. I'm not sure if Kay is seeing it, but I think she is, because I think I've overheard her say it a couple of times, is the transparency of the ISD. We don't have that transparency.
it seems to be a recurring theme here in Johnson
Yep.
County lately people are, but you know what? Do you find that this conversation of lack of transparency from our school districts is that the parents and taxpayers are starting to step up and pay attention?
I think we're starting to see more and more complaints. I mean, I've heard it on my Facebook. I've even heard it as I'm reading the other pages that I've friended, the Godley pages, the Joshua pages it seems to be a recurring theme is they're not hearing exactly
Mhm.
what's going on. And I don't think if it hasn't been me, Kayla, there's been some other voices that I've seen on there. If it hasn't been for them, I don't think the word will be getting out like it has been.
All right.
Wow.
So you look like you were going to say something before.
Yes. I was just going to say, I was at the Godley Town Hall yesterday where they were talking about 2 new developments and talking about developers not communicating. One of the developers didn't show up to the town hall. So they were not there to answer questions about a development they're bringing to our town that the city council is going to be voting on. And I just couldn't believe that a developer would not show up to a town hall.
So what's the projection right now for Godley, for your school district? What's the projected
In the
build?
plans, there is 16,200 homes coming to Godley over the next couple of years.
Over the next 2 years.
Over the next 2 years. And our current bond is set to run out in 2 years. Basically, we're going to have to ask for another bond. We just passed the bond a year ago. In 2 years, we're expected to have to do another bond because of the growth.
Okay, so it's really interesting, and I want to show you guys something. I'm not sure if you've seen this online or not, and I feel for you when it comes to the property tax issue with these bonds, with these school bonds that actually raise our property taxes, which is usually the problem. I think sometimes people tend to focus and zone so much in on what's going on with the city and with city bonds, and they don't realize those usually don't affect your property taxes. But school bonds drastically affect our property taxes. And so I came across a post in one of the Burleson groups on Facebook that was actually talking about the Granbury ISD bond for 2022. And I don't know if you've seen this piece of artwork. And what it is the 2021-2022 tax rates. It's per $100 of property valuation. Burleson's at the highest amount. Guess what? Who's at the second?
Godly.
Godley's at the second.
You're right.
I had
Believe it.
I had no clue. I honestly expected Aledo to be at the top, and they are not. They're roughly number 7, seventh highest for our area. Granbury being the second lowest, and Centennial High School's calling you.
Interesting.
That is interesting. Okay, so sorry about that.
Kid goes there.
I guess I'm holding her phone. I'm holding Nona's phone to look at this. So you're already at $1.49 point, with a 2 after this. So you're roughly at $1.50 per square foot per $100. What would another bond in 2 years look like for you guys? And granted, you're going to need it. I mean, you get 16,000 homes coming over the next 2 years. Do you find that there's another way around this than doing another bond?
The issue with the last bond was there was a lack of proper priority. So they're bringing in a TCU model stadium for football, and in this, and like I told them, you're modeling this after people who send their kids and pay $100,000 per semester to go to TCU, and you're going to bring that to little old Godley and expect their taxpayers to pay for it. In that, only 12 additional classrooms were brought to the high school, which the high school is already at max capacity. They're already having to use the middle school for classrooms. And so 12 classrooms was not even sustainable for our current student population. So that is our biggest issue there. Now, we are actually maxed out as far as our E&O rate. So a bond wouldn't necessarily raise our property taxes. It would probably affect the values, which then does affect property taxes, but it would extend the length of that E&O and us paying that back. Whereas in a few years, we might have seen a reduction in property taxes had there not been another bond passed.
So did Godley already build this colossal football field?
It's currently in construction.
So I guess I just don't understand why we are building. Why and I have the same complaint.
They have a fairly new stadium.
It's only 4 years old.
But
I'm sorry, I just came back in because I had to step out. But
it's 4 years old and they're building a new one.
That's ridiculous.
They're doing an addition to what they've already built.
Oh my gosh.
I would like this. I'd like this opinion from parents from all over that are listening here in Texas, because I didn't grow up here. I grew up in New Jersey, and although some places you had some of the bigger stadiums because they were bigger schools, there was no massive focus on funding for our football programs. So I don't understand. Is this a Texas thing? I don't understand why we're competing at the football level when we need tax dollars to educate our children.
The priority should be education. I grew up in the mid-cities. I was in Birdville Independent School District. We had a nice football stadium, but we had 3 high schools that shared that stadium. Mm-hmm. So, Godley, we have 1 high school. At this point, we had 1 elementary school, 1 middle school. To expect that small amount of people to pay for a TCU football stadium is just unreasonable.
So in this bond, this 2021 bond that passed, the stadium is in the process of being built. Godley Elementary School number 3, is it already being built or has it been built?
It's in the process.
Okay.
But it's only for 700 children.
Okay. So, and then Godley High School, it says phase 2 is so I guess they're adding on to the high school.
They're adding 12 additional classrooms.
So 12 additional classrooms. In the bond from 2021, did they give projections for these new 16,000 homes? Was that a part of this 2021? No. So is that a lack of communication between developers, the city, and the school district? Or was this the school district? And I'm not picking on the school district, Godley. I want to get to an understanding as to the thought process as to why are we putting funds towards another football field or a bigger, more beautiful, elaborate football stadium versus attending to these new students and based on this growth that's coming in. So is there any part of Godley in the 16,000 new homes that are being built that are in other school districts?
No, it's all in Godley School District. And that number was not talked about until after this bond. It was projected that these 12 additional classrooms would have been sufficient, but I knew right away that that was not true. But yeah.
So, so let me. So I almost kind of want to dive in and back up just a little bit because this is clearly a major issue going on in Godley right now. This is a major problem with your education system in Godley. Would you say that fair enough? This is a major part of the problem.
Yes, I believe so.
What is it that led each of you to decide to run for these open seats? What was that deciding factor for you?
For me, I've been super involved with the school board since 2019. And it really started with the mask mandate. So, Greg Abbott's mask mandate didn't require masks for children under 10 years old. But as we saw, a lot of school districts, including Godley ISD, were putting masks on preschoolers, 3-4-year-olds wearing masks all day. And we were told that as soon as Abbott lifted that mask mandate would be lifted for our ISD. That did not happen. So we began fighting the school district, pushing back to get that mask mandate removed. We were told at 3 different school board meetings that we could not speak about the issue, including a PTO meeting told we could not speak about that's a parent-teacher organization. You think parents can share their concerns. Finally, I got a petition put together and I had over 270 signatures. And that is what finally got our school board to listen. And they finally, a couple weeks after that, it was months after the mask mandate was lifted, did they remove the masks on our children. And so that's really why I got involved, was because they were silencing parents' voices, not allowing us to bring our concerns at a school board meeting, which is the proper place to bring those concerns.
Absolutely. Sir?
Happen a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've just recently started getting more involved with the school board meetings, but going there, they put a time limit on you to speak. If you don't finish your time, whatever you got to speak, you got 3 minutes. If you don't finish, you're cut off. If they decide to interrupt you and ask questions as you're speaking, they don't give you that time back.
So I would say I want to say this to anyone who's listening, and to all of you for the next time that you are taking your 3 minutes and you're interrupted. I would tell them, please wait until my 3 minutes is up. You can also have someone else proxy their 3 minutes to you. So if somebody else has a speaker card in, they can decide, well, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and proxy my 3 minutes so that you can continue talking. So just giving a little hints around some of the ways, because we have the same issue. City council meetings are the same way. School board meetings across the board are the same way. It's they're going according to the rules, the open meeting. They can grant you more time, but like we're all experiencing in our school districts, is they don't want to hear from us. They don't want to hear from us.
They want to silence us.
And so clearly you've been in a position to where you've been interrupted and asked a question.
No, it wasn't me. It was I witnessed it at an actual school board. And they're, for you to sign up, they had their business meeting an hour before we actually all get together. And in order for you to speak, you have to sign up. They meet at 6. All the parents in the actual school board where we all meets at 7. You have to sign up at 6 in order to speak at 7. If you're not signed up at 6, the sheet is pulled. So you have a whole hour then that you have to sit and wait.
Right.
So they're going into executive session right away?
Executive session right away.
And this is actually new. They used to do executive session at the end, and then us parents would stay and wait until they reopened to decide what they decided on in closed session. But now they've moved their closed executive session to the beginning of the school board meeting, but they did not tell parents that they needed to sign up to speak prior to that closed session. So parents were showing up to the regular board meeting at 7 and then lost their ability to speak.
Well, they have rules. The school district has the same rules as the cities do. And this is one of those things that you should definitely provide to the current school board, because there are rules to the Open Meetings Act and they cannot violate them. And so it sounds to me like they may possibly be trying to violate those things. I don't get the executive session right in the beginning, and I think that we're experiencing this across Johnson County, where school districts, the school boards are going into executive session for things that they should not be going into
Mhm.
executive session for. It's these things are to be discussed. These issues that are on the agenda are to be discussed as a discussion, as an open meeting during the meeting, so that the parents can be informed and the taxpayers can be informed as to what they're talking about. It sounds to me like you're not experiencing that.
So another thing with our executive session is they're not actually putting on the agenda what they're talking about in the executive session. It's literally a copy and paste from what is allowed to be talked about in executive
That's
session.
typical. Okay, so that's typical. They
Okay.
can't actually put the reasons in there because it could be a violation of if it is a legal
It's kind of a
issue,
template
Okay.
little thing.
right? Especially
Broad.
with the school board, with school issues, if it's the firing of a teacher, that's protected. If it's regarding a student, it's protected. So
Right.
they have to. That is a standard. It's unfortunately a standard. I believe that they should at least be listing, okay, we have 3 teacher issues that we need to discuss, 5 student issues, or this. I do believe it should be
At least generic.
generic to
general-
let us know, okay, they've got 10 things that they got to talk about, and they need to consult with their lawyer.
Yeah.
And so, but what I personally feel like we've been experiencing with BISD is it just very generally being thrown out there that, hey, we need to go in executive session on this. And they're using that as a protection to talk about the things that they're supposed to be talking about in an open meeting, and hiding behind an attorney for an issue that doesn't require an attorney. And then therefore just completely skipping around any open public discussion, and they're making their decisions. And so I would say that we witnessed this most recently in Burleson. I'm curious if this is the same thing that you're experiencing in Godley. Is they seem to already have agreed upon how they're going to vote on an issue. Do you find that you're experiencing that in Godley? Is this an issue that parents need to understand how this works? That an open meeting, an open school board meeting, is not meant for, and nor is a school board position, a board member position, meant to be that I'm going to come in and be agreeable. I'm going to come in and I'm ready to vote yes because everybody told me
Yes.
that I should vote yes. And you're laughing, Vaughn. So I need to hear why you're laughing. You got to give it to me.
It seems like it's a rubber stamp.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the impression I got at the school board meeting. It comes up, they talk about it like they act like they're actually talking about it. They put it up for vote. It's an automatic yes.
I will say too, the general questions about these agenda items that are being raised by the school board members before the vote, this is a new thing. So I've been attending school board meetings for 2 years. Up until we decided we're running for a spot on the school board, there was never any discussion before a vote. It was just a yes vote, unanimous, always unanimous yes vote. But now they do these general questions to act like they are really thinking about their vote, right? But it's totally already pre-decided.
Is Godley's school board meetings, are they streamed live?
No.
They're not streamed live either.
Neither is
Burleson. And so how long
But
is
a
it?
lot of schools are.
Right.
And that needs to be.
It should be that. I mean, that's transparency, and it is, but that gives parents an opportunity who can't make school board meetings, at least be able to, and sadly, I'm one of these parents. I sit at baseball games with one earbud in so that I can hear what's going on during at least the city council meetings. Ours aren't streamed live, so you have to go back and watch the replay of them, which ours takes almost a week. I think this last one took almost a week or longer.
One took 2 weeks.
Yeah, to pop up onto the YouTube page. So again, that's a transparency issue. Why not stream them live? We all have the capability. Every school is doing it. Why are our school districts doing this? Why aren't you giving the opportunity to the parents who, by the way, are above you? How do you feel? Like I've got a deeper question for you too, but we're about to go to break, and I want to wait until we come back after the break to talk about it. But I mean, how do you feel about that if you are elected onto the seat? And I want you to think about this because we're going to go to break. how is that going to change? How are you going to create that change to bring more transparency to the Godley School Board? So that's where I want to dive in when we come back here after the commercial. In the meantime, if you are tuning in, if you want to look at the Godley ISD 2021 bond, go to godleyisdbond.com so you can get caught up on understanding exactly some of the issues, just some of the issues that we're dealing with Godley ISD. We'll be back after this quick break. Stay with us.
Abnormal realities.
I love my mom. Yep. She sent me a message.
My mom did?
Yeah, Wednesday night. And she invited me over tomorrow night to watch Titanic and share a bowl of popcorn. And I accepted.
You did?
Yep.
That'd be fun.
And she calls it Chaps Only Night. Every Saturday night.
Look.
Miss Dixie, how you doing? He said, it's my mom, bro. All right, it's my mom.
I want to hear the answer to the Titanic and popcorn. Go ahead, Mom. What's up?
Oh!
Hi, boys.
Hi,
I
Mom.
just wanted to ask Rocky if he wanted butter on that popcorn or not.
I would rather have the butter somewhere else, but if popcorn's the only place I can have it, I'll take it.
Hey,
dude.
nobody says I can't roll around in it for a little bit more.
All right, Mom.
That is my
Love you.
girl. I love you,
Mom.
Dixie.
Abnormal realities. My mom. Love you.
Dixie.
Bye, I love you too.
With Ron and Rocky. Weekdays, 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. on JoCo Community Radio. Holy crap.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give him a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered. When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leech Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleveland, Texas. Leech Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the second half of JoCo Vibes here on JoCo Community Radio. JoCo Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, simply go to tuneinjoco.com to choose where and how. Or even easier, the JoCo Community Radio app is now available for free on Android and Apple devices. Simply search your store for JoCo Community Radio and we will pop up. Check out our lineup and more on JoCoCommunityRadio.com. This episode and more brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you, because hail happens, storms happen. You've got to have someone ready to fight in your corner with your own insurance company. That's right. 99% of the time, they do not want to pay you the full amount of your claim. You've got to have someone ready to put on the gloves like Nona Reed. She's your local sales rep here in Johnson County and beyond. Call her toll free at 844-TEX HAIL. That's 844-839-4245, and get her in your corner before the next storm hits. So welcome back. I'm Tiffany Carlin with Nona Reed, and we have two amazing candidates that are joining us for the Godley ISD School Board. So welcome back, Kayla and Vaughn. Both of you are running for Again, it's an open seat, so there is no place 1 or place 2 or place 3 when you're voting for the Godley ISD school board on May 7th. It's the most votes that wins these 2 open spots, and there are currently 5 people running, 2 incumbents and 3 new faces. So glad. I want to say congratulations, first of all, for seeing a need and having a desire to create some change in your school district, that you stepped into the ring to run for this, because running for office, whether it's city council or school board or beyond, it can be a very rough scene sometimes. I don't know if you're experiencing that in Godley, but we seem to be seeing it in some of the other school districts that are running. I mean, the gloves go on, it seems. So I'm all about making sure everybody has a voice and getting your names out there to let people know, first of all, that we do have issues at the school board level, and people they tend to not pay attention that these are elected positions and that they have a voice. And I don't know if this is any discussion that you guys are having with the people that you're meeting while you're on social media and while you're out hitting the beat and going to town halls. Do you run into people who are taxpayers but don't have kids in the school district who don't realize they get to vote for this?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And so we're trying to make that a very poignant thing. You do not have to have kids in a school district in order to vote for school board. If you are a taxpayer, a registered voter in your school district, you get to vote because it affects your property taxes. So be sure to get out and vote on May 7th. Godley's school board elections is going to be held where?
At the current K through 2nd elementary school.
Okay. And that's the only one you have so far, right? The only elementary school.
That's the only K through 2. Right now we have 3 elementary schools, but they're divided up.
Oh, okay.
So we have a third one being built.
Okay. This is K through 2?
Yes. So we have a K through 2, a 2 through 4, and a 5th and 6th campus currently. We will have 3 K through 5 campuses once the third one is built.
Okay, so the third one will be built, and then they're going to split them up all through the same grades.
Correct.
Okay, wow. I did not know that Godley was split up in this way. What's the purpose behind that?
I think they just had to help with the growth, and so they had to split it up that way.
So are each of these campuses being expanded right now? Is that part of that bond?
No, there's no change to the current campuses.
So
their plan is, from what I was looking at and reading, they're going to split them up by geographic areas.
But being that each one is such a small amount of students, because you're going K through 2, 3 through, how'd you say it was 3 different?
K through 2, 3rd and 4th, and then 5th and 6th.
So with them being split up in that manner, are those campuses big enough in order to encompass a whole K through 5?
I do know that the new elementary school is going to be quite a bit larger, and they are having a larger geographical area going
to that
campus. Yeah.
So I would assume, and it's just an assumption, that with a new bond possibly in 2 years, that they'll be expanding the other 2 elementary schools, because how else would you be able to fit those kids? So that's really interesting. This is really interesting. I did not know how Godley had it broken up. So very interesting. So before we went to the break, I wanted to ask you guys a question, but wanted to make sure you each had enough time to really dive in and answer it. When you're looking at the school board and the challenges that you're currently experiencing that, forced you to make a decision to run, transparency being one of them, another one being, the rubber stamping has got to stop on these votes. Vaughn, how will you make a change? How will you be able to be different once you become part of this club? And I'm calling it this club because it seems to be that's what happens with our school board members, is that they become friends and it becomes somewhat of a club. And that's, how the rubber stamping goes. Hey, we want to get through these meetings fast. Let's meet before the meetings. And now I'm not making any accusations. These are assumptions. These are assumptions that some violation of Open Meetings Acts might be happening. across all of our school boards, because how else do you come into a meeting and you're already all on the same plan here, and you all seem to be ready to say yes. So clearly some sort of discussion has happened if it isn't happening in an open meeting. So how do you prepare for that, Vaughn? How will you be able to combat being sucked into the club?
All right. Well, part of it, I've got 21 years of military experience, so I don't get sucked in very easily.
Okay. Fair enough.
So, I mean, if they're expecting me to come in and be friends with them and be able to come in and suck me in and say, this is the way we're going to do it, it's not going to happen. My goal is to go in there and represent people and the parents on the outside, and that's my goal. I'm tired of the rubber stamping. If that's what's going on, I'm not saying it is, but that's the impression that I've got. And I've got I won't say my goals, but I've got my perceptions and what I think is right that needs to happen. And if I don't think it's right for the people, I won't endorse it. And at the same time, I will communicate through my Facebook and through beating the bush on what the people think is right. If they don't think it needs to go through, I won't vote for it. And at the same time, I will push for them to vote. That's my main goal.
Right.
Get the people out, get them to vote.
Much, or is there a lot of conversation and promotion that's happened from the school district?
On average, the voting within the school district is averaging about 7 to 10%.
Yeah, it's the average that I think we're hitting all across. Kayla, I'd like to ask you the same question. How do you plan to be different, if elected onto the Godley ISD school board? How you be able to combat the challenges you're already seeing?
Transparency because I do attend every school board meeting, and I then am posting what is being discussed in those school board meetings in our Godley Residents Talking Facebook group, because there's not a big parent turnout to those school board meetings. And so there's a lot of parents that are unaware of things going on. And so I've really tried. We've done some audio recordings of school board meetings and posted those audio recordings, as well as the things that were voted upon. And if I'm elected to the school board, I realize that even if we gain these 2 seats with new parents, still we will be in the minority because there are 7 seats and we're only 2 people. But there's still going to be more transparency. Even if there's only 2 no votes, if we have some discussion into these issues, then we're shedding light on them and we're bringing transparency and not just rubber stamping anything that the superintendent wants.
So some of the things that I'm seeing on the School Board of Trustees website for Godley that I see as a recurring theme, for most ISDs, is that they show when an incumbent was last reelected. What it doesn't show is when they were very first elected, meaning how long have they been serving on your current school board. So currently you have Marissa Abbott is up she's one of the incumbents. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yes.
And also Krista Heiner.
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. Hopefully I said her name correctly. If I didn't, I'm so sorry, Krista. Heener.
I think it's Heiner.
I think it's Heiner. Okay. So these 2 are up. When were they? Do you know when they originally were elected onto the board?
I don't know what year, but I know that they've served about 3 terms each. So I'm wanting to say about 7 to 9 years.
Chris has been on, I think, 7.5. She joined. Her first one was she was appointed because it was an empty spot.
Okay. And do you, what's the overall feel for, or the overall term serving service from all of the board members in Godley ISD? Have they all been pretty long term, or are some of them fairly new?
I believe a lot of them have been pretty long term.
How do you feel about term limits for school board seats?
I think that's a great idea.
How I know I'm just like asking you a lot of questions, are like kind of like a yes no type of thing, but I kind of want to I want to get into this because is that something that you will promote once you're voted, once you are elected onto the school board? Is this something that you think you could really bring to the table to this school board and say, hey, this needs to happen, and try to get it into motion for that?
I'm not sure what the regulation is for term limits for school board, but I know
There's none.
Yeah, there is none. Okay.
It's the same thing as city council.
So yeah, there needs to be term limits on all of our government ordinances.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I mean, it's not a trick question. It's a, how do we make this happen? Because let's say the two of you are voted on, you've got to have enough people on that school board who agree with you. Is this something that you will work towards with your fellow school board members to say, hey, this has to happen. If we're here, we can't give new voice to other parents or taxpayers in the district. So is there anybody on the school board right now who is fairly new? They've all been there a very long time.
They've all been there a long time. I do know there are 2 more seats up for re-election next year. And so my goal, if I am elected, if we do have pushback from these current school board members, is to get parents running for those 2 seats next year and get some new fresh faces in there next year as well.
I think that's really important. Do you feel or do you believe that for Godley, has this been an issue? Do you think people have felt intimidated to run against incumbents?
I believe so. I think the incumbents have kind of, I don't want to say scared them away, but I think the parents have just been leery. I think in the past, it's always been these families have run the school board for so long that it's just been impossible to get them out of office. So I think now it's just time to kind of, I guess, push back and let's see what we can do to make some change.
Well, Vaughn, you've raised how many children in the school district?
I've only raised one in this school district, but I've raised 3 of my own.
And now you have how many grandchildren?
I've got 1 grandchild in this one. So I've seen, I've been in 3 different school districts, and
you've seen the difference.
I've seen different school districts. So, I mean, it's, each school district has their own little problems, and each its own. It's time for me to try and invoke some change. I'm getting set in my age, and I've seen different things, and I'm just not happy with what I see here, and just too much money is being spent. Too many things are going wrong.
Well, let's talk beyond the money part. All of this does involve money because it involves funding. It involves state funding, federal funding. We've talked about growth being a massive issue, and it's not going to stop. There's nothing we can do about that. It's the same thing we're experiencing across Johnson County. We're growing, and there's really nothing we can do to stop it. There's nothing that the cities can stop. When a developer wants to come in legally, they really can't stop them unless the developer is going to do something illegal. So there really isn't much that we can do with that. Transparency and communication obviously is number one with the proper school districts that growth is going to affect. We all agree that that's definitely been a lack of conversation when we're talking about Burleson, the Bear Creek development coming in, and that actually affecting Joshua ISD, not Burleson ISD. And those people aren't really getting to know what's going on there. So, but what about education? What are you seeing on the education side in Godley, whether it comes to curriculum, teacher salaries, teacher retention? What type of challenges is Godley ISD having when it comes to those issues?
So, just comparing Godly ISD to Joshua ISD, Joshua gets about $4,000 less per child in taxpayer dollars, but they actually pay their teachers quite a bit more than Godly ISD. Godly ISD just created a Vader tax raise last year to get those teacher salaries up. So our question was, why can't you pay the teachers what they deserve with the extra tax money that you're already getting, but instead you have to raise our taxes again to give those teachers proper salaries?
Oh, very interesting. And what's been the answer? I mean, has it
There is no answer.
There is no answer. So no answer is given.
Correct.
No answers provided during an open meeting, or are these questions that are being, sent to school administration or to the school board directly?
It was during an open meeting, a school board meeting.
And did they just refuse to answer?
According to TOMA, they are not required to answer. They do not have to respond. They can choose to, but they do not have to respond to public comment.
They can choose to. They can technically they can only answer factually.
Correct.
They can
Yes.
answer.
Yes, but they decide
And they
not
should
to
answer with the facts.
Correct.
So, what have you seen on the side of where the curriculum, teacher spending? What's that issue and challenge?
Well, like Kayla says, they're refusing to answer anything face to face. I think anything that we want answers, we actually have to write it down. We have to send it to the board and hopefully wait for an answer in writing. I'm all for paying the teachers what they deserve. I have no problem paying the teachers what they deserve. We need to give the teachers what they need to properly instruct the children. And I mean, instruct the children, not give them what they need on the football field, what they need on the soccer field. We need to teach the children what they need to go out in civilized life and be productive citizens. Granted, I understand sports are a part of that, but we don't need to build TCU stadiums in a high school environment in order for them to do that.
Right.
What when it comes to that, when that was, part of this bond from 2021, what was the answer to that? What was their reasoning behind building this colossal football field?
The superintendent thought that building a colossal stadium will bring higher revenue to Godley. He was hoping that it would bring a different caliber of families moving in and then raise the tax revenue.
Well, you know what? Those people are already coming into Godley. I have multiple friends who've already moved to Godley and have beautiful homes on 1 acre plus lots in some beautiful communities and developments that have been built but not overbuilt. And so the money's coming, and Godley already has the second highest property tax rate
Correct.
in this area. Compared to Burleson. So, I mean, we're already there, and I'm in complete agreement. I mean, the football fields and build it and they will come. They're already coming.
Yes.
People don't want to live in downtown Fort Worth and work in downtown Fort Worth. People don't want to live in Dallas and work in Dallas. They want to live further out in and have more of a community environment, a more of a rural environment, even suburban. We're still suburban, but we've got the rural and suburban all mixed together. So you're able to, live a more, I don't want to say country lifestyle, but a more comfortable lifestyle and work in a city environment, which is, I think, what a lot of people are looking for. I say that because I grew up outside of New York City, and most people don't want to live in New York City. They want to live outside New York City and commute in. And so they're looking for this. I don't think that people are looking. I don't know if this is maybe you guys can answer this question. I don't know. Is this a constant competition against Alito?
Some of the comments I was told as I brought up the football field was, don't we want to compete against Dallas, Fort Worth, and be competitive with these larger schools so we can win championships.
So why aren't we focusing on a championship in education?
Exactly.
I mean, when you look at where Texas rates on education compared to other states, and I'll throw out my home state of New Jersey because we're in the top 10. So that's where the focus is. It's on scholastics, it's on curriculum, it's on the teachers and education. And if we're focused on football fields and bringing in former NFL football players as coaches, that's tends to be an issue here in Burleson too, to bring notoriety and competition. This is not what schools are for. This is not what public schools are for. And the amount of children, the amount of boys who are actually going into the NFL from high school football is, I believe, 1%.
Correct.
Why are we focusing on the 1%? Where is the mindset behind our school superintendents and our school board members to be focused on the 1% versus focused on the bigger picture? Education. Schools, public schools is in the business of education, not sports therapy.
Exactly.
So how do you change that mindset? How do the parents feel? Let's revert back to, we got 3 minutes left. In the conversations that you're getting to have with the parents out in the school district, how do they feel about this? What are you hearing?
I know when I'm looking for a home, I'm looking at the standardized testing scores, and I'm looking at education when I'm choosing an ISD. I'm not concerned about sports. And I would say that a majority of parents, and I know even realtors, that tout the test scores for, their houses and the ISDs. So I believe that is a main focus of a lot of parents, is they want their kids to have a good education. Now, I'm seeing in Godley ISD, education is not the main focus. It's really heavily on sports. And while sports is awesome, that should not be the main focus for public education. It should be classical education, math, reading. That should be our main focus. And like I said, I have a 3rd grade student who is reading at a kindergarten level in Godley ISD. And to me, that reading should be a much bigger focus.
Absolutely. Vaughn?
I agree. I mean, I'm all for sports in schools. I know it builds the character of young men and women, but we need to shift to education with sports as a secondary background. We need to give the teachers what they need, the tools they need, so they can do their jobs properly.
I completely agree with you. I like the idea. I mean, competition is important. It's important for all kids to learn because it is a part of the rest of your life. We compete on many levels, in the business industries, and but we have to be learning healthy competition. Number one, and that is that you may be a great football player, but so am I, and we can both succeed as football players if that's our dream, to really go for it. But there's plenty of team building skills that can be taught during education that is not being focused on. So sometimes the defense is, they're learning team building skills. They're learning how to be a team player. Well, there's lots of classroom, programs that are geared around that as well, and working together as a team. And what happened to competing for scholarships?
Exactly.
Not just against each other in the same school, but against our school district. That's what I would want as a school district, say, hey, we had this many kids get this many scholarship offers because they're all graduating with straight A's, B's. So I want to wish you both the best of luck. We got 30 seconds left. Be sure to get out and vote on May 7th, no matter which school district you are in. Godley Elementary, North Pearson, Godley, Texas. Early voting Monday, April 25th through Friday, April 29th, 8 to 5. And April 30th, 9 to 5 through till Monday, May 2nd. And then the following week as well. And then Saturday, May 7th is Election Day. Get out and vote. Thank you guys for joining us. I wish you the best of luck. And thank you for sharing all of your information, being so transparent. Stay with us for The JoCo Business Connections, we got 2 more candidates joining us. Have a great day.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, JoCo Community Radio.
Hey, Jill, congratulations on your son getting into the college of his dreams and with a full scholarship, too. Yes, we are so proud of him. You know, I have to be honest. I'm a bit worried about our daughter getting into college. It's so competitive out there, and I feel overwhelmed with where to start. I completely understand. Listen, I felt the